We have our cables glued in. Everything is secure. Now we're going to put the mid plate back on. Because we have the new motherboard, if you have a setup like this, we're not going to need this. So we're just going to take this out and discard this. We don't need it. And now we're left with just our mid plate here. And this is all we want, just like this. Okay, so to put our mid plate back together, I take our electrode cable, put it through the hole here, like so. Pull it through, and then see, here's our cable bundle here. Like I said, we want to make sure that that goes through, and then line up the 4 holes like so. And now we can put our screws back in and attach our mid plate. Okay, now at this point I can tighten this down. Okay, on this one I ended up replacing the electrode cable, so I have to splice this, pull these wires down, and get these back in here. You're not going to have to do this. When I replace the cable. This unit's going to be as good as new when I'm done. So it's got a new power supply, a new motherboard. Last one here. Last link in. There we go. Make sure that slides back and forth easily. And now I'm going to reattach that. You got a couple of nubs right there. Those just go right in like so. And you want to hear both sides click in. Excellent. Now we get our nest. We can reattach our nest now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my photodetector cable, okay? I'm going to hook the photodetector cable back up, like so. Now I'm going to bend this cord like that, so that it looks like this underneath, okay? And now I can put my 4 screws. Again, just putting the screws in a couple of threads at a time. Don't tighten it up until you get all 4 screws in. sure everything's tight. Okay. And now I'm just going to take that emitter cable and attach that. I do not put glue on this end, okay? I put the glue on at the power supply. These usually won't come out here, so I don't bother putting glue. I just make sure before I slide that cover back, outer shell back on, that these are all the way down and connected, like so. The two cables that are going to attach to your USB board, which is right here, okay? And that's what these two cables are left. Okay, before we get to that, okay, now we're going to take our light block lid assembly, okay? Put it back on there, like so. We have our connector that we filed down. Make sure there's nothing in there. Okay. Again, it's a little tricky, okay? We want this connector facing forward. I'm just gonna get one end in and then push the other end in. It won't go straight in, like you have to kind of angle it. It's a little tricky, but once you angle it and get one end in, then push it through, it'll push through, like so. Now I can grab my new electrode board, okay? So one more time, if you take out the electrode board and you had this kind of connector on there, you have to file this down. If this is the type of electrode board that was in there to begin with, well, then it's already filed down, or it should already be filed down, so you don't have to worry about it. But you have to look. So if you're replacing the electrode board and you had this kind of a connector on there, you've got to file this end down, because if you don't, you most likely end up popping or breaking one of these connectors here when you force that on, and then it won't work. So the way this goes on, you've got 10 electrodes on one side, 5 on the other. What you want to do is put it on with your 10 electrodes on the right. And take our cable, slide that connector on, goes on nice and easily, no pressure on there, okay? Now I'm going to take my spliced cord. I'm going to try to organize these cords just so that it's neat in here, like so. Can you get a glimpse of that there? Okay, so the wires are all running in order together, and now I can drop this down and line up my screw holes like so. And when you put the screws in, at first just put them in a couple of threads. Don't tighten them down all the way until you get all 4 screws in. The board will align itself. So once I get this 4th screw in, I can start to tighten them down. The board's aligned. Just like the tires on a car, I'm going to go to opposite corners and tighten each one down. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of alcohol and just clean off the surface of the board from my fingerprints.